And I'd probably say the number 1, 2, 3 reasons for high overhead, the most common is underproduction. Most chiropractors underproduce for their ability and services that they have. Again, the national average is 107 patient visits, and I found the average doctor, after training hundreds of doctors, physically and emotionally can see in between about 180 to 220 visits a week. And that's pretty much where I was at. I went over up to 300 visits a week, and it wore me out. I want nothing to do that week in and week out. But about 180 to 220, I could physically, emotionally do it and still have a life, not be worn out, not be hurting, my back hurting, my wrist hurting, and everything else. So I usually see it's usually from underproduction and too much space. Too much space is typically the number one reason. And then equipment, this big leased equipment that they're doing, I talked about that. And then underproduction. Those are the typically common reasons for high overhead. It's typically not because of what you're spending. It's because of what you're not producing relative to something else: space, labor, equipment, collections, fees, etc. One of those. So hopefully this will help you look at your overhead. So you want to find your overhead, take your true collections. So eliminate out the things you're putting in your overhead that you're just putting in there to help write off to make a tax deduction. So get your true overhead and then divide that into your collections. And you can do that over like at least a 4-month period or a 6-month period. And definitely want to do it annually. You should know what your percentage overhead is annually. And then look at your stats and go, well, where am I? Where am I in the overhead category? Is it overutilization, underutilization? Is equipment overutilization, underutilization, fees, terms, collection, underproduction, overproduction? But what you're shooting for is 35%. When you put everything together, what you're shooting for, remember the national average is 50 to 70%. And if it's 70%, that's typically because you don't know what you're doing. It's real bad underproduction and you don't know what you're doing relative to business. That's the only reason you'll be at 70%. And then you get, or I've seen 70% when the doctors go into, hiring, doing all the medical procedures, stem cell and all that. I'm like, they'll collect $1 million and and I see this a lot, 3 out of 4 weeks of collections is paying for overhead. I'm like, that's a lot of stress. That's a lot of stress. In my office, 1 week was overhead, 3 weeks was profit. Didn't have much stress.